Yo, what's going on, Serpa Squad? It is 9:43 a.m. on November 3rd. I'm expecting a very special package today in the mail. It should come around noon. Last time I checked, at least that's when it was supposed to come, but I can't wait to share with you guys what I got. It's something that I've really not seen much of at all. I've been wanting to get it for years, and the timing wasn't right. And I was just searching up some stuff the other day, and on a whim I saw them. I'm like, all right, it's about time to do that because I've been wanting to do it for years. So finally got them. They should be here soon. And before then, though, I got to feed a few of the animals, and I also got to do some woodworking outside, a few other odds and ends as well. So I'm going to do some of that, and then we'll circle back when I get the package and I can share with you guys what I got. I'm about to go in here and feed Samson. Whenever I opened up the lid, he went down in the water. He's right there, but he's not going to stay under there long. You'll see. On today's menu is a few frozen thawed mice. We'll give him a second to come out. Oh, there he is. And right on cue. Oh, see, he's ready to go. Up here. And just like that. He still has the tail, that one hanging out of his mouth, but I bet you that he'll eat this one too. Yep. I'm never surprised at his feeding response. If you see he's coming out, he thinks that I got more food for him. I think 2 mice is enough for now, but it's supposed to be lights off, so I'm gonna get the lids on here, shut off the light, and then we're gonna feed Dean. The Dean man was in there sleeping, but as soon as the lids opened up and I turned on the lights, he gets curious, he wants to know what's going on, so why don't we go ahead and feed him as well. And he's latched on. I'm just going to set the other one right here and let him do his thing. I've been working a lot on those plywood tanks I showed you a few weeks ago. This is a stand for them. I pretty much just got to put some polyurethane on it and then it's ready to be moved into the room. So I'm going to do that, and then maybe I'll show you the tanks later on in the video. Just as I was finishing up the first layer of poly, they came. As I'm sure you know by the title, these are living animals, so I gotta hurry up and get this open. Be careful during the process not to go too far in. Wow, they're bigger than I expected here. I better hurry up and get them float acclimating. Typically I would just let these float and then walk away, but these containers have little air holes in them because these are air breathing animals, so I'm just going to hold these here to make sure the water doesn't go in there prematurely, and I'll just float them for about 5 minutes. Alright, I think these guys are up to temperature now. They've been moving around a lot more. They weren't really moving that much when I first opened them, so I got some gloves on here so I don't transfer oils to them. I'm going to get this one in. Whoa. Introducing the pipa, or it's more commonly referred to as the Suriname toad. Like many toads, these are actually a frog. They're commonly referred to as toads because of their bumpy skin. For the sake of keeping it simple, I'll refer to them as toads. Since I was young, I've only ever seen pictures or videos of these animals, and to actually see them in person was absolutely incredible. Whenever I first saw them, I couldn't get over how flat they are. I always knew they were, but things often get lost in translation through the lens. Since they're so flat and kind of resemble a leaf, it only makes sense that in the wild you'd find them among leaf litter. As such, I made sure to incorporate some of that in their temporary holding bin. They also have little feelers on the ends of their fingers that help them sense for prey items. While we're talking about that, I'm always nervous introducing new animals because I don't know what to expect, and I usually gauge their success based on their feeding response. At first I wasn't sure about these guys, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt, realizing that they just got shipped to me, and I figured they were just a little bit skittish from all of that. I was able to get them to eat, so I'm feeling pretty confident about it. Hopefully that wasn't a fluke and we could get them to continue to eat and thrive. You guys know me, I love my fish, my geckos, and my snake, but at the end of the day I'm a frog guy. And look at that face, that is a prime example of why I've always liked frogs. Those little eyes and smiling face, how can you resist? The thing these toads are most notorious for is how they reproduce. You ever see those trypophobia trigger videos where baby toads emerge from the mother's back? I'm sure you have, and these are those toads. I did get a male and female, so my hope is to eventually breed them. I think that would be a really cool process to document. Plus, these animals are not often kept in captivity, so my hope is to gather up a lot of really good information and get it out there so that we can learn together. I will say that I purchased these animals as being captive bred. Not to throw shade, but I don't know if I actually believe that's the case based on how large these are. I don't want to make assumptions though, so we'll just leave it there. They do get larger than this though, so it will be really cool to see them once they've matured even more. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep them in that plastic bin long. Staying in there allows me to monitor them during the time that I'm setting up their new tank, which will be in this 75-gallon tank. As I'm sure most of you know, about 2 months back I set this up to be a beautiful paludarium for my American bullfrog MJ. Unfortunately, he passed away about a month ago, most likely due to old age, and I've just had the tank sitting idle since then. A few days back I saw the Suriname Toads, and I knew that the best thing for me to do is to start over completely with this tank. I went back and forth on the idea of getting another bullfrog tadpole and allowing it to grow in this tank and eventually turn into a frog and live the entirety of its life in here. However, for me, MJ was such a special animal, and I didn't want to go and replace him, and even if that's not what my intent was, inevitably that's kind of what you do when you get another of the same type of animal like that. So I decided it's better off for me to just start over, get a completely different animal for in here, so that's what I did. If that's something you'd be interested in, definitely stay tuned. I think it's going to be an awesome build and I can't wait to share it with you. Last thing I want to show you though is the rack for the plywood tank here. I've got all of the poly on the outside and I also painted the inside black to preserve the wood a little bit more. You probably want to see it in action though. Give me a second. Getting them all on there isn't the easiest task in the world, but this should give you a better idea as to what I'm working with. At this point, there's really not a whole lot left to do. I just got to make doors for everything, so 1 for each of the tanks on top, and then 2 for the one on the bottom. I also got to make doors for all of the openings into the stand here. That of course will give me access to the light compartments, while keeping all of that separate from these tanks. In the past, I built all of that into the tanks. It was just a lot of extra work that was completely unnecessary. So to make things easier, I did it that way. And then I also got to just do all of the completion woodwork, so to speak. So finishing all of the fronts of these tanks, and then I'm going to add little trim pieces and just different details to make things look a little cleaner. I've been working on these as fast as I possibly can. It's a little bit of a time-consuming process, but I should be done in about 2 to 3 weeks, give or take. Can't wait to share with you guys what I'm doing in all of them. I'll leave that up to your imagination, but keep in mind that I'm doing a build video for everything involved with this, except for the stand. I filmed some parts of that, but each of the tanks, I filmed how I made them, and I'll share that with you, of course, and then we'll get into all of the builds of the individual tanks, so stay tuned. And that's going to do it for this one. I really hope you enjoyed seeing the new animals. I'm pointing over here actually because I put them into a 40-gallon breeder. Felt that the quarantine bin was too small, and as I said, I didn't expect them to come in that large, so that's what I had set up initially. Once I got them, I'm like, I gotta put them in something else. So I got them into a 40-gallon breeder, and I also hope you enjoyed seeing a update on sort of everything I'm doing with the plywood rack and a few of the animals and stuff. There's a lot more things I'm working on down here that I've yet to show. So if you want to see those things, as well as the future builds for those and the plywood tanks and everything, what do they gotta do, Henry? That's what I'm talking about, man. And what about if they like the video? Yep, the dude knows. Listen to him. Anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, Serpa Squad, take care and